What is going on, guys? It's the Mad Dragon. We've got our final team announcements for round 4 of the Guinness Six Nations. Wales versus France have got their team announcements out. Wales announced theirs on Wednesday. Whether super confident or just out of ideas, and so just chuck a team announcement out there. France have announced theirs at lunchtime, so we're going to take a run through of the team selections, have a think about some of the players, who's some good picks, some bad picks, any changes we would have made along the way, having some thoughts about how we can see this game going, my sort of expectations on it, and then of course giving a final score prediction. If you enjoy this video, hit the old like button, hit the subscribe button, because we're going to be doing a bunch of these for the rest of the Six Nations as well. And there's a lot to cover today, because normally when I do these videos, I try my best to just not look at the teams. I go and grab the graphic, chuck it on, I press record and go. Obviously, Wales announced their team on Wednesday, so there's been a couple of days I've sort of kept flicking back and forwards looking at it. And France have announced theirs this lunchtime, so I'm sort of going into it brand new. But going into this game before the tournament, I assumed France are going to dominate this game. I saw this fixture 2 years ago in the Principality. France looked really good then. Since then, they got to a World Cup quarter-final where they had just a phenomenal game versus South Africa. Didn't come away with that win. And before this tournament, I thought France were going to dominate this one yet again. Last weekend, France drew against Italy. And it really threw me because this French team, to me, is underperforming. And has underperformed in every game so far, the Six Nations for me. I haven't seen a game yet where I thought, this is the France I was expecting. They are missing quite a few key players from around the park, and obviously that World Cup, psychological blow, losing in the quarterfinals was a big blow to them. Wales look a bit disjointed. I'm not going to say they've had great games across the tournament so far, but a couple of individual players are really stepping out. Team cohesion seems to be lacking a bit, but over the course of this tournament, they've done little things that actually have really gone above my expectations in some games, even though the results not going their way. So going into this one this week, I was actually like, you know what? There's a chance here that Wales might be able to turn up to this game and outperform this French team. But I have seen the teams, and Wales' team announcement came out on Wednesday, left me scratching my head going, what is Gatland thinking here? And I've seen the French team announcement literally a couple seconds before I've started pressing record today. And they've obviously got some sort of wizard in the French physician team, because I don't know how they've managed to do this, but so many people are back in the team and fit and healthy. The week off has been very friendly to them. So let's start out by talking about the Wales team. Because, yeah, this is a team list that has sort of left me a little bit puzzled about what they're thinking for this game. I'm probably going to go through this team a little bit quicker than usual because I want to pick out individual players and talk a little bit about how I see this Wales team getting on. So the front row, Gareth Thomas, Ryan Elias, and Azarati is going to be the starting front row. Now, Ryan Elias for me hasn't been anywhere this Six Nations or for a little while. The line-out throwing has been awful. I've already seen a bunch of comments online basically saying all eyes are on Elias, and this is a big game to chuck him into, going against France straight away in that starting front row. I think they sort of believe he's a better scrummager than Elliot D, and the way we saw France impact the scrum against Italy, they may be thinking that's going to be a better option. I think lineouts are going to be in desperate trouble versus France, so I think Wales will want to stay away from the lineouts, to be honest. Try and keep it live, open play, and keep the ball in hand. Will Rowlands and Adam Beard take over the lock department this week because David Jenkins, the captain, is moving to blindside flanker at 6. No, I've never seen David Jenkins play a 6. I assume there's some confidence there to be able to play it. David Jenkins has been playing well, actually. He's been one of the sort of unsung heroes in this Wales team. I've been keeping a few tracks of a bit of his stats and stuff he's been doing. He is topping the stats in so many different games, from amount of tackles made, amount of tackles actually made compared to versus missed. He's been working really hard. The move to the 6 shirt, Alex Mann moved to the bench, and Alex Mann had a good start to this Six Nations as well. Will Rowlands, Adam Beard, and David Jenkins all being at the same time. My view on this is that they know Ryan Elias' throwing at the lineouts is going to be an issue. So what they've done is actually added more people into the line-out that are capable of getting the ball. You effectively have 3 locks in there. I think Aaron Wainwright's up for getting in the air as well. You suddenly have sort of been able to generate 4 jumpers at the line-out. And I'm hoping what they're going for there is they're just trying to swarm that line-up with potential catchers, and therefore France aren't quite sure who to mark up. That might allow Ryan Elias to survive the first sort of 40, 50 minutes until Elliot D comes on, and then hopefully that line-out will get a little bit more stable there. Joining David Jenkins in the back row then, Tommy Raffel and Aaron Wainwright, two boys who are actually crushing it in this Wales team. I think Aaron Wainwright is playing some of the best rugby I've ever seen from him at the minute. He was a bit of a staple in the Wales team a few years back, and he sort of fell off a little bit. I think in the minute he's playing really top-end rugby, and it's nice to see, especially with missing, someone like Falatau in that number 8 shirt. I think Aaron Wainwright's doing a really good job. And Tommy Raffel this is the first week I've added a Wales player into my fantasy team for the Guinness Six Nation one, and it is Tommy Raffel, because he's an absolute workhorse. I think in a couple of games he actually probably deserved to get man of the match, but they're on losing teams, so they're not going to be able to get man of the match there. But I think he's been absolutely phenomenal. Two of the players in this team that actually are really performing for me. In the halfback partnership, Thomas Williams going back in alongside Sam Costello. This is the halfback partnership we got to see last week. There is a lot of dispute in the minute about this Wales 10 shirt. I still, for me, I don't think Sam Costello is quite there for that top level international jersey. I don't really know who is there. I feel like there's a bit of a hole at the minute in the 10 shirt for Wales. In terms of the scrum half, Thomas Williams hasn't blown me away. And now Gareth Davies is named on the bench, and sort of similarly to the way that I was talking about England yesterday, I think for me, looking ahead, I feel like when you get round to the next World Cup, you have to sort of, what are your expectations? Who's going to get to the next World Cup? I'm not sure if Gareth Davies will. I'm trying to think about his age and, another 4 years from now. Thomas Williams could well be in the mix. I think Kieran Hardy's, someone you want to be keeping an eye on. I haven't seen any news actually about him picking up an injury or something. I just think he's out for this game. I think maybe I would like to see some youngsters come in and try out, because I don't think any of the Welsh scrum halves at the minute are blowing me away. I think it could maybe be a door to get some younger players in and looking ahead towards that next World Cup. In the centre partnership, what a switch up here. Owen Watkin going in alongside of Joe Roberts. George North and Nick Tompkins, gone. Not just on the bench, gone. Not in this game now. Maybe they're thinking ahead. Italy game next week, bit of a must-win game. You kind of want to feel for the Six Nations for Wales, but dropping them both, I was kind of surprised by. I think George North's scramble defence has been really solid. Now Owen Watkin, I've always actually talked about quite highly. I have quite good praise for Owen Watkin. The last game I saw him play for Wales was nothing to write home about. So this one going into it, I'm hoping he's going to have a better game. Joe Roberts playing at 13, when I think they've put him in before. He's played at 12 with Wales, and I feel like maybe I would like to see that actually swap round. I think Owen Watkin is more than capable of doing 12 and 13. And I quite like Owen Watkin for his defensive ability as an outside centre. I maybe would like to have seen that swap around and maybe have Joe Robertson at 12 and Owen Watkin at 13 and have a bit of a mix-up there. And then in the back three, Rio Dyer, Josh Adams and Cam Winnett. Now, Rio Dyer and Cam Winnett, I actually think have been playing well. Cam Winnett's been really stamping down that fullback shirt, which is nice. Rio Dyer's been good on the attack. Defensively, I still have questions about him. Josh Adams has not been having a good tournament for me. I've really not seen anything, bar giving ridiculous penalties by throwing the ball over the side. I saw a couple of people last week picked him in the fantasy, and he scored 0. You start out with 2 for playing. He actually went backwards during the game. Again, it's sort of similar to what I said about the scrum half department. Maybe looking ahead to the future, maybe trying to look at some new lads coming in. Mason Grady's not had a great deal of game time yet. He's absolutely someone that could go out on the wing. Maybe looking further afield, you could look at some other wingers and test some stuff out. Maybe you've even put Josh Adams on the bench for this one, because he's also not only played winger, he can do a bit of fullback, and Wales have tested him at centre as well. He could come on, a bit like Elliot Daly is for the England team, bit of a super sub for multiple positions. And I might have liked to have seen a different winger there and given someone else a good chunk of time, because Josh Adams, a bit more of a veteran player. He's going to be going up against the French wing. It's going to be BLBRE. In terms of the pace game, Josh Adams is quick. I think BLBRE is quicker, and he's also got a really well-timed boot on him to get a little chip over the top and making the defender turn. I'm not sure Josh Adams is going to cope with him in just an open foot race on that wing, even though Josh Adams is pretty fast. I think they're maybe hoping for the defensive element, but I think it's something that Mason Grady could maybe have also held down based on his size out on that wing as well. And then in terms of the replacement, Elliot D, Domachowski and Dylan Lewis. This is a better front row for me going on in that second half, so it's going to give them a bit more longevity into that second half. You've got to hope the game kind of goes the way it did with the Italy game versus France last week, where Italy were able to start coming back into it in that second half. Maybe Wales are hoping for a big second half. Alongside them, they've got Alex Mann and Mackenzie Martin going to be coming on for the bench. So a bit of a lower capped forward pack coming on in that second half. And then in the replacement backs, Gareth Davis, Johan Lloyd and Mason Grady. Like I said, I think I would have made some changes along the way here. Is this a team I see beating a France team? I think of the same France team that last week turned up. Actually, yeah, I think they've got a good shot at this one. There's a lot of chopping and changing, and for a team that's already struggling with team cohesion at the minute, and some players doing really well and some others doing pretty poorly, some of the set plays not working, the set piece area is a bit of a mess at the minute, making a bit of a swathe of changes into the team. I'm not sure how that's going to help immensely. If anything, I think it's going to add a few more complications. But hey, I'm not an international coach. Maybe Warren Gatland's got a much bigger plan than what I'm expecting. Moving on then to talk about this France team, because the France team last week did not really perform brilliantly after about the 20th minute. They were just desperately clinging on to that game and could have lost it at the end. Maybe they should have lost it, depending on your view of that final penalty in the 80th minute. Going into this week, I thought France are going to have a lot of issues going on. However, you look at this team sheet. Who are all these boys coming back in? Well, how have they managed to fix this? I have no idea how all these people have come back. That week off was the best time in the world for them, apparently, because there's some big units coming back into this French team to really reinforce it a bit. So I think it's going to be a big boost for them this week. So starting out in that front row, Cyril Bay, Julien Marchand, and Antonio going in there. That's a power front row. For all the compliments that I gave Malvaca in the World Cup, and I thought he did so well stepping in so early on in that World Cup and really held his own in that hooker position. This Six Nations, I haven't seen that same energy from him. I haven't seen that same thing. I think this is maybe a good switch to bring on Julien Marchand and just reinforce that scrummaging a bit. And I think that set piece area again is going to be a big contention point. Mainly down to these two lads coming back in. Thibaut Flamand comes back into the side alongside of Mayfu, who was the giant 6'8", 150 kilos, whatever he is. I can't remember his stats. But he's a massive monster. We were hoping to see him. And unfortunately went out in that first round. He hasn't actually played yet. So he'll be coming in that 5 shirt. An absolute monster unit. But Thibaut Flamand coming back in. One of my players of the tournament, last Six Nations, I thought he was absolutely phenomenal. This is a real bolster to not just the weight in the scrum, but also in terms of, just being able to get those clean line-out jumpers and stuff. Thibaut Flamand is absolutely up there. That's a really reinforced line-out section for them. And then in this back row, Francois Croix is going to move to the 6 shirt. Charles Olivon remaining in that 7 shirt. And Greg Aldrit is coming back in that 8 shirt. Look at the physicians working hard. There's some magic going on in the background here. So a few changes coming in this week for France, but they're being replaced by experienced, talented players. And this is probably a better pack than we've got to see, last week anyway. So I think this is a great opportunity for France to bounce back. I think that's a solid 1 through 8 for them. I think Wales might have a bit of a long day in terms of scrummaging, especially. Could be a little bit rough. In the halfback partnership, switching it up this week, Le Garec goes in alongside of Ramos in at 10. Of course, Jalibert went off with his injury, so not in the team this week. Maxime Lucu, not impressing me either too much. I think Le Garec coming in for a first start and maybe having a bit of game time might be a good move for him. Ramos has played 10 before, so I'm sure he'll be able to hold out there. I'm sure that'll probably maybe mess up a couple of people's different fantasy teams who are expecting Ramos to be playing at fullback. We'll have to see what people go about with there. In the centre combination then, Deportier, hopefully getting that pronunciation right, alongside of Ficou. Now, Deportier was the guy who was meant to be sort of coming in about round 2. I think a lot of people expected him to be playing. He got released from the team back to club level, and all I saw in the French Twitter feed was people going ballistic about how can they release this guy back to club, keep him in the international team. He deserves to be starting. He's in this week with Jonathan Darnty out with his red card. Mo Farner down on the bench, so not only does he not get to start ahead of Jonathan Darnty, Deportier coming in now as well. And then finally, in the back 3, Louis Bielbiarri is going to be starting on that left wing, Damien Penaud, and Bar, hopefully one of those pronunciations is sort of correct. Brand new name for me here, coming in the fullback shirt. I enjoy seeing new players. I enjoy getting to learn a little bit about them. If you're an avid French rugby fan, drop down in the comment section. What are we looking out for with the new fullback? Is he going to be something, a really talented player? Is he sort of a counter-attacking player? Is he more of a counter-kicking player? What can we expect? I really enjoy everyone helping each other learn about some new names coming into this team. BLBRE going out on the left wing as well. Didn't play last week. called out of the game shortly on the Saturday before that game kicked off. Got replaced by Lebel, not in the team. Again, didn't think he did too much. I think BLBRE is probably going to be a better choice out on that wing. Malvaka, Talfaifanua, and Colombe is going to be the replacement front row there. That's a new name for me in the 18 shirt as well. So a couple of new boys being tested out this week. The other Talfaifanua, Roman Talfaifanua, and Rumat and Boudouin will be your replacement forwards. Maxime Lucu and Mofana as the replacement back. So 6-2 for France. I don't think they'll be too happy with their performance last week from the forward standpoint. They had such a dominant first 20 minutes, and then it really began to sort of fall off from them. I think having the 6-2 again, bit more longevity, being able to really punish the Wales set piece, I think is probably the right move for this one. We already know what some of these Gael Ficou, Damien Penaud, BLBRE, we know what these lads offer in the backs, right? You've got Mofana there for your overall coverage. I assume if an injury comes into Ramos, I think Legarrec is also able to move to the fly half. So Lucu will come on at 9. Legarrec can move to 10. You've got good coverage in the backs on a 6-2 in this France team. And I think it works really well. You know the danger runners that these lads offer. In that second half, when people begin to tire, might be where you see these people explode a little bit more. But that first half, I'm expecting a big forward pack game. I'm expecting big work at the breakdown. I'm expecting those pick and goes. Now, one area that's going to be interesting to see these two teams battle at is going to be the maul time, because probably one of the only sort of set piece areas that Wales seem to be doing quite well is the defensive maul, and it's something that France really enjoy trying to push. Now they've added quite a lot of weight in. You've got Antonio there, you've got Maifu coming in there in the 5 shirt as well. They've got a lot of weight behind it, but the Wales defensive maul has held up pretty well over the course of this tournament. So France might want to look at something slightly different. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few more different tactics, like going for the driving maul and actually peeling off around the back and allowing someone like Gregory Audrey to come on from distance and try and crash over the line. If I was this France team, I'd be looking at the Wales team and saying, we just want to try and exploit mistakes that I think are still going to come in. I still don't think the team cohesion is going to be there for Wales. I think making the most of the opportunities offered to you is going to be one of the crucial elements here. Wales giving away penalties, if they're not getting back onto their feet quickly enough and not getting into that defensive line, you want quick recycling at that ruck time. You do not want to be going slowly. I think maybe that's something where Legarrec might actually add a bit of a boost to this French team, because sometimes Maxime Lucu can get to that ball at the back of the ruck and you get it out, man. So I'm hoping Legarrec can come in, add a little bit of pace for this French team, and expanding it out wide and getting it out to people like Damien Penaud and BLBRE. I think there's big contention points here about how they're going to manage up. I think the wings is going to be a way for France to get through. Like I said earlier, I think BLBRE's got the pace over Josh Adams. I think Damien Penaud would be able to get through Rio Dyer defensively out on that wing as well. So I think being able to use the forwards to drill the Wales team in narrow, and then you ship it out wide. You maybe go for some crossfield kicks out to Damien Penaud and try and sort of punish them that way. It's a massive French team compared to what I was expecting. Okay, they've lost Jalibert in that 10 shirt. I think Ramos is going to be quite a capable fly half, and I think they'll be okay. So having gone on the roller coaster of emotions going into this game, what do we think in terms of a score prediction? It's flip-flop for me both ways, but eventually I'm landing on a France win here. The new boys coming, well, the old boys coming back into the team is more a way to think about it. I think it's a massive reinforcement for that France team. The Wales team chopping and changing some key areas, I'm not sure if that's the right move, especially for this game. France have been reinforced. Wales are trying something new. I'm leaning towards France for this one, and I'm going to say by a bit, actually. I think I'm going to go France to win. I'm going to say 14. I'm going to go 2 tries. I'm going to go 2 tries to the win for France. I'm sure Ramos will be looking to get some kicks in there as well. But there we have it, guys. That's going to be the video for today. Of course, Six Nations is going to be on the go. I'm going to be doing a live stream today, very shortly. I'm going to be doing one about 4 o'clock UK time. So if you happen to be seeing this before then, great, you'll know that's on. If not, you probably missed it. That's how it works. That's how YouTube works, right? So make sure you are subscribed to the channel to know when all the latest videos comes out, and you know when the live stream is on. It's going to be fun. We're going to be talking about Six Nations stuff. We're going to be talking about fancy stuff. We're going to be talking about Rugby 24 stuff. All that really awesome stuff on the channel, guys. I hope to see you all next time.